President Trump picking up a last-minute endorsement from Joe Rogan. Rogan throwing his vote behind Trump days after the former president appeared on his wildly popular podcast, with Rogan crediting Elon Musk for convincing him, writing this on X, quote, "The great and powerful Elon Musk. If it wasn't for him, we'd be effed. He makes what I think is the most compelling case for Trump you'll hear, and I agree with him every step of the way. For the record, yes, that's an endorsement of Trump." Now, Trump responded to news of the endorsement live on stage in Pittsburgh last night. Watch.
Thank you, Joe. That's so nice. And he doesn't do that. He doesn't do that stuff. And he tends to be a little bit more liberal than some of the people in this room. No, I had a lot of fun, and he was amazing, and it was a 3-hour interview. He's not a person that does endorsements, but he did an endorsement, so I just want to thank Joe Rogan. That's fantastic.
And Harris, he also talked about it last hour in that informal gaggle after he cast his ballot.
He did. He was asked about it, and he talked about it in detail just in terms of what his closing remarks were last night. So we had part of that. But he also sort of moved ahead with, you know, just how many people that would represent and just how vast that audience was, and that he really appreciated. He said it was an honor to get people to speak for him yesterday and to be endorsed like that. I'm paraphrasing him a bit, but he used the word honor in terms of this late-breaking, you know, news that even Elon Musk sat for hours with Joe Rogan, right? So it's interesting. It really is. I thought Joe Rogan wasn't going to endorse anybody. Kamala Harris had an opportunity here. She missed it, and the former president, really was able to capitalize on that. Perhaps. We'll see how much it matters.
Yeah, and to that, so Kayleigh, the question becomes sort of one of quality, not quantity. Now, as Harris was mentioning, we don't know yet the impact. Joe Rogan has almost 19 million subscribers, but the point remains is the quality of that. We've talked before about, I characterize him as having a subscription to curiosity. So It's not necessarily the quantity, oh, here's an influencer with 1 million subscribers. It's about, here's someone who leads the thought train of curiosity, so that one can argue 19 million people follow him for unabashed truth, for presenting facts unaltered. What say you?
I love that description. As you know, I love a subscriber to curiosity. I think the Joe Rogan endorsement means a lot. And look, does it move X number of votes? Who knows? However, I was thinking today, Joe Rogan is kind of the ultimate man of the people. And when you saw that shot of Donald Trump we just put up in Pittsburgh, you saw the men in hard hats behind him. These are people who presumably bucked their union leaders and said, I'm showing up, I'm a rank and file, I'm supporting Trump. Joe Rogan has the #1 podcast in the world for a reason. People like hearing what he says. He's authentic. He's real. He's a man of the people. And I think that means a lot. You know, Harry Enten at CNN had this interesting analysis that when you look at voters moving from Joe Biden to Donald Trump in the polls, there's one commonality that they have when you look at their profile, and it's they have a favorable view of Joe Rogan. I think a lot of these independent-minded, kind of centrist, who are subscribers to curiosity, as you say, Emily, look at Joe Rogan, like him, and I think could be swayed. So I think it's a huge deal. I wish it would have come before election night, but a huge deal.
And in that landscape of endorsements, Molly, so Kayleigh mentioned the unions. We also have, if you contrast or compare the Joe Rogan endorsement, we also have the declination of the Washington Post to endorse anyone, for example. We have union leaders that have declined. So there's sort of a differing landscape this time around. Do you think that will have an impact on either candidate?
Right. Well, the Washington Post and other media outlets declined to endorse, not because there's any confusion about who they like, but because they realized they had been so histrionic, so ridiculous over the last several years, they've lost any influence. They're unable to control the conversation like they used to. So you think about the Joe Rogan podcast. He had Donald Trump on for 3 hours. He had J.D. Vance on for 3 hours. These were really long-form opportunities to get to know the candidates, get to know their policies.
Right.
Compare that to 60 Minutes, which Donald Trump didn't even waste his time with because they have become so corrupt in how they present the news. And 60 Minutes is watched by a lot of people, but nowhere near as many as the 200 million podcast downloads that Joe Rogan gets a month. So we're in a completely different media environment.
Definitely.
Yeah. What do you think, Jonathan?
Yeah, I actually find this particular election fascinating because of the cultural aspects are so unique. You've got Rogan versus Oprah, right? You've got establishment media against new media, right? Rogan, as you said, is the center of gravity. That's where media is right now. People have left mainstream media. They're walking away. Where are they going? They're going to Joe Rogan. And so this election's fascinating because you feel like there's a bit of a cultural reset going on. You've got all of these celebrities that have lined up on one side, and you've got figures like Elon Musk and Joe Rogan on the other side. And what is it about them that resonates with the American people? And I think it's because of this cultural reset. That it's not just anti-establishment, that people have begun to look to different quarters for leadership, and that includes media and leaders.
Yeah, I think it's that they can't be canceled.
That's probably true.
I think of them, too, as that they don't represent a conglomerate of power. Alongside Elon and Joe, you have also RFK Jr., you have Tulsi Gabbard, you have people that say, I refuse to be put in a box. Their common denominator is that they're independent thinkers, right? And that they collect interesting, freedom of thought, unique individuals around them to help foster that information rather than getting their script from on high.
Didn't Joe Rogan first, and forgive me if I'm wrong, endorse RFK Jr. quickly?
Yes.
And then not endorse? What was going on there?
Well, then Kennedy withdrew, and so no one expected him to go for Trump, and I think least of which was Trump. And I think he was honestly surprised and delighted by it.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kayleigh McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.